Just fucking do it. Subscribe now. And, my kids in private schools, my mother who's got dementia. Everybody's got a reason for not being in a hurry. The words run towards the gunfire is supposed to mean something. It's supposed to be dangerous. You're putting yourself at risk. You may not make it. And you're running. You're not walking at a leisurely pace. The or more is important also because when you realize how easy it is to increase your savings account $5 million a month, you may want to immediately raise that amount. These two little words will have already sent the message to your subconscious, and you will reach that monthly amount quicker. The best times to say the affirmations are in the morning when you get out of bed. There's all kinds of studies that say that why that's one of the best times, and in the evening just before you go to bed. That's when I say them. By saying them at night, you are commanding your subconscious to work on them while you sleep. By saying them in the morning, you give your subconscious the opportunity to present a report of what it did while you slept. The increased focus you experience as a result of this simple activity will produce phenomenal results so that you truly get what you want out of life. And this is your homework. Athletes have been doing this for 2,000 years. I see myself, one of my, full disclosure, I'm his chairman. There was a guy that went to the Air Force Academy, the great athlete. And the Air Force Academy, its lifetime picture on their football programs is him playing against Notre Dame 25, 30 years ago and missing a tackle. The great All-American, All-Pro, future All-Pro from Notre Dame slipped the tackle. So the guy, he slipped off his leg. And that's the picture for Air Force Academy football. Now, of course, I noticed that. I went back and looked at the program, and he's sitting right there. He's a PhD in finance. Big. He looks like Malcolm X, except big with muscles. Malcolm X. He's black. Okay. He's a black guy that actually says he's a black guy, unlike some of my other guys that say that they're something else. There's a lot of science that I don't understand why it works. John Elway never gave up. And they do work. But you got to be consistent. For some I say this slightly tongue-in-cheek, but I'm serious. For some of you that are slow, and we have some slow people in the room, I would do it 10 times a day. I would do it on the fucking hour. Because you got some catching up to do. The kids understand it immediately. Boom. We understand, Mr. P. You don't have to repeat it for us. Just like they understand you're all full of shit. Talk about shit you haven't done. Boom, they get this. Of course, and they may have done the research and they Google fucked it. The QLA seminar is not just a seminar. It is a blueprint for creating generational wealth as fast as humanly possible. I teach you how to turn nothing into millions, billions, and even trillions. If you want to take control of your life, to create a legacy that lasts for generations, the time is now. Do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is this moment. Be bold, be selfish, be ruthless, and take no prisoners. I will still do seminars, but I won't be able to do this forever. Act now or not at your own peril. Thank you very much. There are 1 million apps for this.
Money flows to love. Love flows to love.
This is money in 15 minutes. This is money in 24 hours.
You have the ability to rise
I trained his father
to go further, to accomplish more. You cannot wait for the feelings to come. You can create the feelings by acting the way you want to be.
I always have more than enough money. I make money every day. I have lots of money.
God bless
I am affluent.
Allah be with
I
you.
am wealthy. I am rich. I love money.
For the yingers and yangers and stiff nipples. Now the houses they show here aren't such a big deal to me. They'll be the big deal to you, but then, not such a big deal to me. But I've lived like this since I'm in my mid-30s. I'm not hot on the yachts, but anyway. Now, several years ago, Harvard and a few other big schools did a test about what we put in our head in hearing. And they got in a hermetically sealed chamber, and they played the following music, because snowflakes, the real snowflakes, not you, the snowflakes that fall from the sky are all different. There's no one snowflake or two snowflakes alike. They played heavy metal song, and that's what the snowflake looked like. They played Amazing Grace, that's what the snowflake looked like. They played Edelweiss, that. You Disgust Me, that. Imagine by John Lennon, that. Heartbreak Hotel, that. And Evil, that. If you never listen to anything other than my shit in your head again the rest of your life, you'll be 50% ahead of everybody else. 50. I cry when I listen to myself. Sally says, it's dinner time, honey. Turn the machine off. We don't want the dogs to cry, because all the dogs sit with me. They don't lick my tears anymore, but I want your goals to be bold, unrealistic, bodacious, over the top, unconventional, and cannot accomplish in your lifetime. Not just you get 2 more nickel bags. Do they still call them nickel bags? No, they're dime bags now. Okay. Not that you get, 2 extra. Or to give your grandmother a couple of dime bags.
I hope they haven't done nickel knife.
No, I don't think so. You must have long-range goals to keep you from being frustrated by short-term failure. And you're going to fail. God knows. I could write a book. I've only written 1 book, although I'm in negotiations about a second book. It may or may not happen. But I could write a book on failure, 50 volumes. What not to do. When I was working more heartily on my TV program, which has not yet come to fruition, they said, I gave them 7 or 8 storylines, and they said, well, how many storylines do you have, Mr. Peña? I go, at least 1,000. Probably 10,000, but I'd have to sit and think about 10,000. But I know for sure I can spit out 1,000 sitting right here. Take us a couple of days, but I can spit out 1,000. Because but now, other than my politics, so now I've failed at 2 things. I failed in athletics, and I failed in politics. Now, some people say I didn't fail in athletics because I ran 40 marathons in a month. But that's not what I had in mind. I had in mind catching in the Rose Bowl for USC, one-handed to win the Rose Bowl, or catching in the NFL. That never happened because I have peripheral neuropathy. Yeah. Oh, you mean the actual? So even though I was arguably a great long-distance runner, that's not the athletics. The girls don't rip, although when I ran in the Boston Marathon, they ripped my clothes off. When you go by that women's college, they literally, there was a lot of fucking hard nipples in that group. I'm running the Boston Marathon. I didn't have time to, and my wife is at the end. God damn, those were crazy. Questions about this? Gordo. Yes, sir. Verstehen. Yeah. Yeah. Comment? Comment? And I've been here long enough to see your goals come true. A couple of them, I'm not going into the kinky ones, but I mean, this is the things that I've seen you kids accomplish. I mean, we could do a TV show easy. You know, like Fast and Furious 10, I think they're at now, right? I could do whatever we call this, 100 examples of how you kids have overcome parents, color, deformities, all kinds of shit. But you got to want it. Yeah, well, wanting, I mean, you have to breathe it. You have to feel it. I mean, nothing's more important in your life. And right now, and I'm not telling you to be a shitty parent, but I was a shitty parent. My son is an admirable parent. I'm a shitty grandfather. But those weren't high priorities. I won't say they were zero, but they were certainly not high on my list. And I'm not blaming my dad, he was a good grandfather, he was a shitty dad. He was a great man's man, but he was a shitty father. The role model he showed is that there was no room for error, otherwise you got the fist. No room for error. Spare the rod, spoil the child. I remember when he told me that, I was about 5 years old. Now, how am I supposed to know what spare the rod and spoil the child means when I'm 5? My mother said I was 3. I don't believe I was 3. But anyway, because my mother wants to, God rest her soul, wants to knife him still. And they've both been dead a long time. But spare the rod, spoil the child since I'm 4 or 5 years old. So I expected to get the beating, getting the whip. And Sally got the spoon beating that I showed you earlier from her grandmother. She believed she was of the same era. Spare the rod. And now when I was, children should be seen and not heard. You say that now, you're a fucking, you're like a racist or some shit. And of course now you shouldn't discipline the kids by spanking them or smacking them or whatever. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Any questions on goals? Okay, thanks, Kat.